morning, Canada. We're here in beautiful sunny White Rock. Not so sunny today. We had a little bit of rain this morning, but like happens every year, because God loves veterans and first responders, He cleared the skies so we could hold the Canadian Walk for Veterans. Today, we were supposed to have a big event here last year at Lafarge Lake, where we normally hold the Canadian Walk for Veterans. We were privileged to have Councillor Anthony Manning there last year, and he phoned me up afterwards and said, why don't we hold the walk in White Rock next year? So today was supposed to be a big event with a barbecue with food donated by our friend David Marish from MB Tech Services, and food barbecued by the Knights of Columbus. But COVID came along and we can't do it. So nonetheless, we have a great crowd here today, and today we were supposed to be in 14 cities across the country, and because of COVID-19 we had to go virtual. So the good news is we are now have walkers for the Canadian Walk for Veterans in 105 cities across the country. Woo! And as far away as Australia. So the Canadian Walk for Veterans, Canadians all across the country are getting behind it. And today is a little different. It's because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This year we are dedicating our walk to all veterans, serving military, police, firefighters, paramedics, corrections officers, border services, doctors, nurses, and all frontline workers. I'd like to acknowledge our national sponsors, Flair Airlines, and the two owners of Flair Airlines live right here in White Rock, South Surrey. Unfortunately, I don't see them in the crowd, but they're Jim Scott, who himself is a retired police officer, and Jerry Presley, who is a retired Canadian Air Force veteran. So let's give them a hand. I'd also like to acknowledge our local sponsors, and we do have those ones here. So we have Cece Yang of the Surrey White Rock Community Engagement Society, Felix Zhang, who is a local financial advisor, he's right there, and our own Carrie Lynn Finley, our MP for Surrey White Rock. I also want to take this opportunity, because to build an endeavor like this, and it started from one location in Central Park 4 years ago, and now of course we're in 105 cities across Canada, and our goal is to have it in every city in Canada. But you don't build something like that by yourself. So I just want to acknowledge some of the volunteers that have been with us right from the beginning, and we'll start with Matt Kane, and you can't see him, but because he's holding the camera. But Matt is a military veteran who served overseas on our behalf, and he helped me plan the very first walk when it wasn't even the Canadian Walk for Veterans. It was just a single location. Also is Paul Smith, who helped form the last two Canadian Walks for Veterans. Paul's right there. Emily Testa, who ran our registration, just like running a business. Thank you, Emily. Bob Gray and Amar Singh. Where are you, Amar? You back there? Amar is always the first one at the event when we need to set up. So he gets there long before me. So thank you, Amar, for your dedication. Mark Donnelly, who's not here today, but Mark normally shows up and sings "O Canada." If you don't know Mark, he is known as Mr. O Canada, and he sings "O Canada" at Canucks games. And I want to thank the Peace Arch News, because they've been very supportive over the years with lots of coverage. So we recognize them as well. I also want to recognize somebody else who's here today, and that's Trevor Halford, who is our BC Liberal MLA candidate for Surrey White Rock. And for those who have been at the walk in the past, when you arrive, you pick up your coin. We have a beautiful challenge coin, and this year our challenge coin has the maple leaf and the heart of Canada on the front, and on the back it says, "To those who rise to the challenge of service before self." And that means we are dedicating this walk to a lot of you in the crowd. A lot of you are either current or retired border services, RCMP, frontline workers, the whole works. But we are very honored to have some of White Rock's finest here with us today. So let's give them a big hand too. So the reason I mentioned the coins is because we're not handing them out today because we don't want to do it, with the COVID thing. But we will be mailing them out to anybody who's registered for the walk. So if you're registered, you will be getting your coins in the mail. So with that, I would like to introduce Mayor Walker. We're extremely honored to have Mayor Walker and some of City Council for White Rock here. So Daryl Walker, Mayor, if you wouldn't mind saying a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark, and I absolutely am delighted to be here with Councillors Trevelyan and Manning back there, and also, of course, Councillor Trevelyan and his wife and their newborn child. So you're actually lowering the average age of people as they come out to walk with the Trevelyans being here today. It's our honor to be here. And I was thinking earlier, you're talking about community and what community is all about. And I like the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I believe it takes a community to make a strong, vibrant country. And that is what is happening here today. The number I heard, Mark, was 70 communities across the country. Now we're up over 120, I believe it is. That's amazing, and that's really what it's all about. Most important, it respects the work that is done by people in our community that help to keep us safe and sound, to make Canada the type of community that we really want to be, that is a community seen around the world as something that others will strive for. And the work that you do and the volunteers through this walk will continue that and those sentiments. Without the people you talked about here today, and there's an array of them around, and I believe that's CVSE, if I'm not mistaken, you make our country what it is, a country that is wonderful and safe and sound. That's the country I want to live in. That's the country I want my children and grandchildren to grow up in. And so I really, really want to say thank you very much. The last piece is Courageous Critters, I believe.
Courageous Companions.
Courageous Companions. That's the second time I made the mistake on that one. I want to know how I get a courageous companion critter. I think that's a wonderful idea. I've seen animals and, of course, kids bring the toughest, the most difficult people to deal with down to the earth because they realize that's what they really want their society to look like. So I think that's a top-notch idea, and I'm looking forward to hearing more and more about it. But Mark, thank you. Volunteers, thank you. Everybody involved. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, Mayor Walker. And thank you for mentioning Courageous Companions, because that's what the net proceeds from this year's walk is going towards. And it goes to a different organization every year. But Courageous Companions does amazing work providing service dogs to first responders and veterans who suffer from PTSD. And dogs do an amazing thing for helping veterans and first responders with their PTSD. So all the proceeds, the net proceeds of this year's walk will be going to help provide a service dog to somebody who desperately needs it. I'm going to introduce our MP in a few minutes, but there was somebody I forgot to mention previously. I mentioned that we were going to have a big event here this year, and unfortunately we couldn't do it. But our MC was supposed to be Gordie Hogue, who is a previous mayor, a previous MLA, and a previous MP for White Rock. So Gordie, I hope we can count on you next year. Sorry we couldn't use you this year, but we're glad that you're here walking with us, so thank you. Also, before I turn it over to Carrie Lynn, I just want to mention that today is National Police and Peacekeeping Memorial Day. So please take a moment on your walk to remember those who have served and given the ultimate sacrifice for our safety and service. And again, thank you to the two gents on our left and our right for their service to Canada and to us as a community. So with that, I would like to turn it over to our MP, Carrie Lynn Fenley, to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mayor. Thank you, officers, for being with us today. Thank you to all of you who've come out on this very, very special occasion. This is our third annual Walk for Veterans, something that's growing and growing, as you've heard. I mean, over 100 communities that are doing what we're doing today. That's pretty exciting, and other countries. So Mark, I want to say that you have done the most amazing job in organizing this and promoting it, letting people know about it literally all around the world. And I'm so very proud of our community and proud of you and proud of your organizing group for all that they've done. Thank you to the sponsors. This is an expanded reason for us walking today. This is a tough time. We're in a very difficult time. Everyone knows that. We're kind of restricted in what we're doing. So in order to still get together, enjoy each other's company, even at a distance, and do it for such a worthy cause, I think really warms all our hearts and gives us a purpose that is so very important. The fact that we're also honoring other first responders and those who are on the front lines is very important, particularly in 2020. I have members of my family in law enforcement, and I know that they put their hearts into it every single day to protect our communities. We appreciate what they do so very much. When I was Associate Minister of National Defense a few years ago, I came to know a lot of families of veterans, so I do not want them to not be mentioned today. The families of our veterans, the military in service right now, their families are often at home while they deploy for months and months, even in peacetime, and they keep home and hearth together while they're out serving. And our frontline workers, it's the same. They have families at home worrying about them every day and welcoming them back, but they need to be recognized as well. So I do want to mention the families of all those serving, because they play a huge and tremendous role. Let's just keep on what we're doing. Let's keep fighting. We're Canadians, we're resilient. We're right here in the most beautiful community, in the most beautiful country. We feel blessed, but we also know we have to continue to pull together, respect each other, keep as safe as we can, keep as healthy as we can. I believe we will get through this, whether we know the timelines or not. And today is a perfect example of
who put service before self. So you don't have to walk, you can do 500 push-ups if you want. Okay, 500 push-ups or walking.
which is it?
Well, 500 push-ups would be nice.
Which do you choose?
But you could just come up and say thanks to these two gents for their service, or anybody else in the audience that is